Couple of years down the road, you are doing okay, except for the dreams.
The fuck does that mean?
So you have just been having some very intense, uh, emotional, kind of not great dreams lately. Like you've been having more nightmares. How often do you normally have a nightmare?
I don't know. I have weird dreams. I don't have like nightmares.
Yeah. So it's gone from weird to worse, is what you tell people. When
Why
you
am I telling anybody this?
Because what you're like, yeah, I'm just having weird dreams lately, you know? I've always had weird dreams, but lately they've gone from weird to worse. And people are like, oh.
That sucks.
So you've been just having these it's not even so much the fact that they're dreams. You almost feel like someone's trying to tell you something. Like you had a dream about this all started about a week ago. You had a dream that you were sitting at the beach and just sort of looking out at it, and there was not a single soul around besides you. And then as you watch the waves, and the waves were getting, you know, it was at high tide, so the waves were really going. And in this dream, you're staring at the waves, and then four figures like walk out of the ocean towards you,
Jesus
and
Christ.
they are perfectly dry. It's four figures. They come and they stand before you. Excuse me. One of them is um is this like smoking hot babe in a bikini. There
Yeah.
is the next one is this like dude, and he's wearing like a he's wearing like a hat uh to cover his head so it doesn't get cold, you know what I mean? And he has like he doesn't have mittens on, he has gloves, and he is holding a piping hot cup of pumpkin coffee. There's there's a like a blonde woman. She's wearing a like a sundress, like a really beautiful sundress. And there's a guy wearing like really he's wearing like really heavy winter's clothing, and he has like a parka that covers his face, and you can't see his face. All you can see is like pitch black inside that fucking parka. The woman in the bikini steps forward and she goes, "Hello, Aaron. We are the Four Seasons." And she like, and they all like pose, like they all like do like karate poses for a second, and they
So
all shout
fucking
out,
dumb.
they all shout out their season.
Yeah.
So she's like, "Summer." The dude with the pumpkin spice latte thing, he's like, "Fall." The woman in the sundress goes, "Spring." And then like the driest, creakiest, oldest voice you've ever heard in your fucking life goes, "And winter." And she goes, "Look, Aaron, we've always liked you, and we're just here to warn you that something's coming, Aaron. So prepare yourself."
Fuck do you mean we've always liked you?
She's like rubbing sunscreen all over her face.
God, this sucks.
Suddenly, you blink, and the Four Seasons are gone. Instead, the beach is now like filled entirely with crabs, and they're all like clacking their claws. You wake up, you're like, huh. The next day, you had this. Well, it wasn't. Well, I guess it was kind of a dream. It's kind of hard to tell with these things sometimes. You went to sleep, and you woke up in the middle of the night, and standing at the foot of your bed is your sleep paralysis demon. It's a thing where it's like you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't move, and you can see. It's almost like you can see like a pitch black figure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he goes, "Hey, Aaron, what's up? It's PD paralysis. I'm your sleep demon." It's like, anyway, just popping in. Just wanted to,
Anyway,
just, just wanted to pop in, see how my bro's doing. Heard that there's some kind of weird stuff coming down the line, so just wanted to make sure you're
your
doing okay.
presence is fucking terrifying. It is absolutely terrifying. You don't have the right to just show up here and be like, "Hey, bud, what's up?" You're a fucking
Yeah,
sleep demon. A demon.
you think that because you can't say it because you can't move, and then you wake up, so you're like, I guess that was a dream. The day
Fucking
after,
hate it.
the next night after that, you have a dream where it's just pitch black, and you can hear the whispers of the black-eyed king in the darkness. So on the fourth day, you're like,
Fuck is
what
that?
the H is going on? So you go to a few people. You're really not sure who to go to about this, because you fall asleep, but you wake up, irritable and still kind of tired. So it's starting to, affect your mood. So you go to the first person you go to is this sleep specialist, Dr. Mark Handsome, MD. So you go see Dr. Handsome, and basically you meet him, and he's this guy who is a a jawline to end all jawlines. This fucking guy, classic handsome jawline, and everyone in the Handsome family has a jawline like that.
Right.
So you meet up with Doctor Handsome at his sleep at the Handsome Sleep Study Center. And he's like, all right, so what we're going to do is you're going to spend the night here. We're going to attach these like, electrodes to that sweet fucking forehead of yours. And then we're going to monitor your brain activity while you sleep. And we'll be able to tell when you're having these nightmares and how many you're having a night, you know, what you can even remember. Because you can only remember one a night. You know what I mean? So it's like maybe we get to the bottom of why this keeps happening. And he so you spend the night at the sleep center. It's actually a pretty sweet deal. Um they have like a really big TV. Um you watch the 50-year anniversary of Def Comedy Jam.
Yeah.
And you just like fucking tear up.
Yeah.
The doctor actually runs in because he thinks that your brain activity is going so insane as you're watching the retrospective of Def Comedy Jam that he thinks that like you're having some kind of episode, but you're not.
I'm
You're
just
just la
really into
Yeah.
Def Comedy Jam.
Yep. So that night, excuse me, you go to sleep and you have a dream that you're a gigantic candle and like the wick is like it's on fire or whatever. It's just been lit, and it's just slowly burning down towards the top of your head. And when it reaches
What the fuck?
it reaches the top of your head, you just wake up.
Wake up.
You look over, you see that there's like, I guess from the last person who was there, there's like a brush and some makeup right next to your bed. You're like, that's fucking weird. So you really don't know what to do now because the sleep specialist, he he talks to you next day and you describe what your dream was and he's looking at your like brain readings and he's like, that's crazy because here it shows nothing abnormal is happening. So you're a little annoyed. You go to a clinical psychologist to find out like why am I having these strange dreams? Like before you went to see the clinical psychologist for the first time, you took a nap and you had this dream that you were a little kid again, and you heard like commotion and a slight green light coming from your closet. And in the dream, you like walk closer and closer to the closet, and the sound gets louder and louder. And the closet door opens, and there's a basically what you pictured the boogeyman to look like when you were a little kid.
Okay.
Except he's on what appears to be like a surfboard or something. And when the door opens, you realize the noise was the song "Shining Star" by Earth, Wind and Fire. And this boogeyman is just fucking dancing, dude. He is boogieing on down. He's standing on
The
his boogie
boogeyman.
board. Yeah, the boogeyman. He's a monster, and he's like such a good dancer, dude. And he's grooving and moving. And he looks down and he sees you, and he goes, "Aaron, hey, haven't seen you since you were like 6 or 7. Anyway, just wanted to let you know that."
What is with these guys? Well, anyway,
Well, I mean, this is a casual thing for him, you know. This isn't like a crazy experience. This is just he's the boogeyman, you know. Everyone sees him a different way. He's like, anyway, just wanted to warn you that there is something coming. Be careful, okay? Just be a little mindful. Would hate to see something horrible happen to you. And now he's like spinning on his head. You wake up. You're like, what the fuck? So you go to this clinical psychologist, Dr. Marv Gronkowski. You go to see this guy. He's easily the biggest clinical psychologist that you've ever seen in your fucking life.
as in like his stature.
He's tall and he's just big. He's just a big fucking guy, you know?
All right. Like I fucking
And
have a roster of clinical psychologists who I've seen in relation to their size. Come on.
well, you kind of think to yourself when you first see this guy, you're like, "Oh, this guy is like the biggest clinical psychologist I've ever seen."
Jesus
You
Christ.
have that thought. And you talk to him. He talks, he's like, "So you're having these dreams that inter these interdimensional forces are trying to like give you messages or something like that. Is that what you're trying to tell me?"
I'm not trying to interpret these motherfuckers, you know?
Yeah.
I just
He
tell
goes,
them what's going on.
he's like, "Yeah, okay." And so he writes some notes for a second, and he goes, he kind of starts asking you some questions, fairly basic life questions about your stress levels, about what you do for a living, how things are going in your personal life, things like that. He talks to you for a few minutes, and after a few minutes of this, he's like, "Huh, okay. Well, as I'm looking at these notes, I think I know what's going on with you.
What?
And then his face turns into like the devil's face, and like he says something in a language that like you cannot understand, a language that hasn't been spoken out loud in a very long time. You wake
What
up,
the
it was a
fuck?
dream the entire time, Aaron.
Fucking hate this.
So things are starting to get a little bit weird, you know? Your lack of like rest is starting to really get to you, you know? You found that when you sometimes when you sit down, you'll be so tired, you'll start to do a crossword puzzle and you look down and there are just like no clues. And you're like, what the fuck? And then you kind of like go blah, 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 and like slap your face a little bit and you look down and it's like back to normal.
So I'm having visual hallucinations. I'm hallucinating.
I mean, I guess, I don't know. I'm just telling you what
Yeah, that's
happens.
what it would.
You have a bowl of like SpaghettiOs for lunch, and for a
No.
second you look down and all the pasta is in the shape of your face. And you go, what? And like slap yourself and you look down, huh? And it's like back to normal.
Why am I doing this fucking Three Stooges routine? Slapping my, oh, making that dumbass noise.
You do it
What the
because
fuck?
you do it because it's to kind of get your head back in the game, you know? There's something's going on and it's starting to kind of like really freak you out. And so the last person that you see about this is a different doctor. And you go in and you explain what's going on. And he's like, all right, so this is going to sound a little bit, this might sound kind of strange to you, but I've had, patients talk to me about this before, how they're having dreams that they're being warned from, across the voids of eternal night. But really, what you need to do is just switch to a slightly higher, a diet higher in fiber. In fact, if you just want to take fiber pills, that should be good. Just take a little bit of that and maybe go for a walk every now and then. And I think you will be pleasantly surprised. He smiles at you.
Fiber and a walk is not the cure for a fucking hallucination. I'm hallucinating.
He goes, he goes, look, Mr. Brooks, I know it sounds crazy, but
No, this is why people don't trust the fucking medical system. You're trying to attribute hallucinations to my weight.
would you, so you leave. Would you just start taking like extra fiber and going for extra
Fuck no.
walks?
Extra? I don't take any fiber now. I do walks. I get
So
walks in all the time.
you leave the office of Dr. Herb Pepper.
I leave him a 1-star review somewhere.
Okay, so there is like
I'm
a
having hallucination. I need to see like a mental health professional.
what would you write in your review?
I go, I'm having visual hallucinations. And this doctor said I need to take fiber and get walks. Like that's not use your fucking brain,
Yeah,
you know?
Dr. Pepper.
1 star.
So you're like, what the hell is going on? So
Oh, his name is Dr. fucking Pepper.
you start you start you start walking back to your place, and this like limousine pulls up next to you. Like this really almost looking like a old world limousine. You know what I mean? From like the 1920s or like
Like
whatever.
an old Rolls Royce limo kind of a
Yeah,
thing.
dude. The window rolls down. There's this guy inside there, and he is dressed to the nines. He's wearing a dark gray suit. He's got one of those like you know how like men back in the day they used to always wear hats. You know what I mean? In like the 20s or whatever. He's
Yeah,
wearing a
yeah.
hat that reminds you of like the 1920s. He's got like a black tie. He goes, "Hey, Aaron, need a ride?"
No. I'm not just gonna get in a fucking stranger's car.
And you
You
look
know,
at him, and so that's the thing. You look at this guy, and he doesn't feel like a stranger. He feels like someone you can trust. Like he talks to you for a second. Um, he goes, he's like, "Yeah, look, like, I couldn't help but read your review of Dr. Pepper just now." He's like, "You know what? I got some old world remedies that I think we could probably do something to help use hallucinations."
absolutely not. No, I'm gonna go seek out adequate mental. I'm not trying to have a fucking old world remedy out of an old limousine. I want to talk to somebody who went to fucking school for this.
So, um, he like he has like a jar, and he like extends it to you out the window.
No,
Do you take it from him?
I'm not. Fuck no, I'm not taking his fucking jar.
So he's like, he kind of shrugs and he goes, "All right, well, Aaron, if you change your mind, just come on downtown and ask for Mr. Pibb."
What the fuck, Pat?
He like drives
Mr.
away.
Pibb?
Yeah. You go home, uh, and you go, "What a crazy day." And you hop into bed. It's a warmer evening, so you're only wearing white boxers with red hearts on them.
Come on.
And even though you're not looking forward to whatever weird thing you're going to dream about tonight, you fall asleep almost immediately. You in your dream that night, Metatron, the archangel, stands in front of you, and he is, even though you're looking at him right in the eyes, you feel like he's larger than the Earth. And so, you look at him, and he kind of like raises his gigantic celestial hands up, and in one of his hands is an ice cold, like the kind of it's a can. It's so cold that it's sweating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can of Dr. Pepper. In the other hand, same deal. The perspiration of an ice cold beverage. It's a can of Mr. Pibb. And and then Metatron screams at you, choose, the word choose. But he screams it like so loud that it's so frightening that it like wakes you up. So you're like, what the fuck? But you still don't feel very rested, you know?
What the fuck is going on?
You're just, so you're continuing to have these strange dreams. And so you walk to you're kind of like, I need to get something to drink. And so you go to the RBM Food Mart West. You walk in, and you walk over to grab something to drink, and as you're walking in, the guy who works there is like, "Oh," he goes, "Hey, Aaron, I have to apologize. There was some kind of like shipping problem or something, so we kind of got a limited selection today, but yeah, tomorrow it'll be back to normal. And you're like, okay, you're not really paying attention to what he's saying. And you go over to the beverage section, and there is an entire like rack of Dr. Pepper, an entire rack of Mr. Pibb. Which one do you choose?
I mean, it's Dr. Pepper every time. Why would I, you know,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some pib heads out there, but
Yeah.
I think you're
Dr.
wrong.
Pepper, yeah, I mean, I do like Mr. Pibb a lot, but Dr. Pepper, I think, is definitely the more comforting of the two. So you pick that, you open up the display or like the door to the thing or whatever, and you grab a ice cold can of Dr. Pepper. And the the damnedest thing is that the it feels like this can fits perfectly into your hand. You think of it not so much as taking a can from the soda section, so much as you almost have a vision of like, you know, plucking a the freshest grape. You know what I mean?
Oh,
You bring it to the register, and the guy's like, "It's on the house, Aaron." You're like, "All right." You're like, "Great start to the day." So you leave, you go back home, and you sit down, and you crack open that ice cold can of Dr. Pepper. You've never had a can of soda open as quickly and as completely as this can of Dr. Pepper.
what do you mean by that?
So when you like, you know how there's like the tab to open the can.
Yeah.
When the second that you get a pinky underneath that what feels like an eager waiting soda can tab, you pop it and it just opens immediately. Like you barely have to move your finger, and it's like, and it makes that really satisfying sound that a can of cola makes.
Crunch.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, the crunch and then the sizzle. And so you look at it and you chug the entire fucking thing. You feel like almost compelled to. You chug it. You crunch the can in your hand. When it was filled with soda, it felt perfect in your hand, but now that it's empty, it it feels like unclean. So you crumble it up and or crunch it up and throw it away. And you open the front door. You hear like some commotion outside, so you open your front door, and in front of your house is that same old world style limousine with the window cracked down, like all the way down, And you go, "Hello, Mr. Pibb, can I help you?" And then he shoots you right in between the eyes.
What the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, with one of those guns with like a really long like barrel or whatever. It just like comes out of the darkness of the limousine and just fucking shoots you. And you kind of go, "Whoa!" And as you fall over, um, you go. Your last words are "check, please," and then you boom hit like your head, back of your head hits the ground.
Jesus Christ. That fucking
You
why
this
would the
is
fuck would he do that?
because you chose a side in the Cola Wars. This is considered the very first casualty of what is later known as the Cola Wars, the most devastating war that planet Earth has ever known. When people picked sides of their favorite cola brand and they went to war over it. War crimes were committed. Husbands hung in front of their children. Women's throats slit
Oh well.
in front of their
I'm dead.
children. Yeah, that's the thing. And so the next, after that happens, it kicks off this like devastating war that takes many many years to heal from. The next day, the newspaper front page it shows it's a really iconic photograph of your feet like hanging out of your front door, and a crumpled up Dr. Pepper can next to it. It wins the Pulitzer Prize that year. And the headline says, Overweight comedian first casualty of Civil War.
Great.
But you go down in history, the Cola Wars.
Awesome. I'm glad that that's my fucking legacy. Gunned down by Mr. Pibb.
Some people have even less.
Yeah, whatever. Fuck this. Mr. Pibb.
Mr. Pibb, he was like a mobster, I guess. Oh, man. You made your choice.